Kemi Badenoch this week, one of the Tory contenders for the leadership, she made waves by suggesting she'd award J.K. Rowling, the author, a peerage for her fearless defence of women's rights against the relentless mob of cancel culture vultures from the trans lobby. She also said this during Thursday's GB News debate.
So look at the things that I did do. They were very difficult things. We need people who are brave. We need courage. That is what I showed when I was in government, when everybody was laughing as I pointed out what was happening to young children, mostly young gay children, being sterilised. Nobody wanted to hear about it. I cut through the crap. The fact of the matter is there were too many other people who turned their eyes away when those things were happening.
I liked it then and I like it now. An act of common sense from the last government, so rare these days. I almost wondered if it was the end of the road for the trans tyrants gripping British life. But no, they're still flexing their muscles. And boy, oh boy, they've got them because they're men. Case in point here, a young female footballer who might be on the autism spectrum, she now faces a whopping 12-match ban for daring to ask a bearded transgender opponent, "Are you a man?" Now, can you imagine the audacity of this woman, of her, to actually be concerned for her safety playing with men? After already facing aggressive tackles, she even asked the referee for clarification on whether the player was actually eligible to play. The horror. What a vile, bigoted witch! Burner! Am I nailing this woke stuff yet, Andy? No. Meanwhile, over in the world of cricket, the England and Wales Cricket Board have decided that female players will only be protected from competing against trans males if they're, wait for this, if they're good enough. So you've got to be high profile enough in a good enough league. A woman not talented enough to be on those pitches, well, tough luck. You'll just have to deal with blokes in your sport. Another stunning and brave victory for equality, eh? I think she was right, this former Labour MP, Rosie Duffield. She called Sir Keir Starmer. She said, well, my friends, she said he's got a woman problem. But as these sporting debacles actually show, it's not just him. I think actually, across British life, there are pretty serious women problems. Now, Emma, as our honorary woman on the panel.
How dare you assume my gender?
If
Don't misgender me.
if this was you back in the day kicking a ball about or using a cricket bat, how would this make you feel?
Well, back in the day, it wouldn't have happened. When I was 12, it wouldn't have happened. I feel really sorry for this young girl who apparently is on the autism spectrum. But poor thing, look, us adults who've created all this mess, we don't even know what's going on in this whole crazy world. We don't even know what we're allowed to say, how we're allowed to refer to people, what's safe and what's not. My gym has a very unclear policy about this. And I'm telling you, I would be absolutely horrified if I came out of the swimming pool, you know, if I came out of the pool, I was in the showers or whatever, and there's a man there identifying as a woman. I think it's an awful situation we've created. So many, the majority of adults respect other people's choices, they respect their sexuality, they respect who they love, they can live how they want, they can dress how they want, all of that. But when we come to this nonsense that we are feeding our children especially, that a man can be a woman, a man can have a penis and be a woman, all of this stuff, it needs to stop. It really, really does. I think many gay men say they're embarrassed at this. This does them a disservice. I have some lesbian friends who go to groups who say they're being invaded by young men claiming to be women.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I just don't know
mess.
what being trans has to do with homosexuality, to be honest.
Well, they've grouped the Stonewall and pressure groups like that have made this their primary thing now because they've got nothing else to complain about, frankly. I mean, gay rights are pretty much the same as most people in this country.
You think that this is an abomination?
It's a complete abomination. This is tyranny of the minority. This is a small... I mean, even the census admitted those silly questions they put on the census, the overestimated amount of trans people. So we know that they're probably less than a percentage of all British people, yet women who have... a lot of them possibly gone through abuse and difficult times are now having to share bathrooms, share football pitches with physically grown, fully grown men. It is wrong. We need to stop this. We need to let women have their own space and protect them from these predatory people.
Well, if one day, you know, you have a little girl, I mean, would you be happy about a being told that actually she's going to have to play footy with a bloke?
No, of course I wouldn't. And I think this is the really sad thing about this warped ideology, is that it cloaks itself in kindness and tolerance. And you just look at this story and you hear that this is a 12-year-old girl, let alone whether she's on the autism spectrum or not.
Yeah.
And maybe at the time, at the sporting game, there could have been some confusion about something that was said, but then she's been going through a whole suspension process. Did someone actually stop and say that this
She's
is...
17, actually, not 12.
17, you're
Same
fine, she's a child.
Yeah.
She's a child. Did anyone stop and say
And by
that this
the way,
is incredibly unfair?
And by the way, children say all sorts of things. Children say, you're black, you're white. They say, you're fat, you know.
But if she's 17, that means that this man is a developed man, right? He's starting to get there when it comes to getting out of adolescence. I mean, Andy, you must think that you're waving your trans flag. You're saying this is progress. I love this. So Keir Starmer is on the side of equality.
Well, I don't think it's got anything to do with the Labour Party, actually, firstly. And secondly, I think it's a really...
I think Rosie Duffield would argue otherwise.
Well, she would, but whatever. I think this is a really complex issue. And I honestly, I don't really know what I think about this. I have to be honest. I just feel
Get
like...
off the fence.
No. I feel like I probably haven't invested the time to read up enough to fully understand what is a genuinely complex issue. And my main view is I think we should be respectful hang on. I think we should be respectful of trans people and people who feel that they're in that position, but also of women.
You must have a view. You must have a view
on men playing with little girls. Oh, God, that sounded awful. I certainly didn't mean it like
Against.
Yes, against.
Look, when it comes to
why can't you respect everybody's choices, as I've just said, as you've just said?
Yeah.
You respect other people,
I
but
do,
still,
and I think it's
still
delicate
say
balance.
a woman is a woman and a man is a man.
Well, I think it depends what you mean by that. I do think...
I can happily qualify. I can happily qualify. When I went to school...
I just said what I meant.
I think you're being deliberately obtuse here.
No, I'm not being obtuse. I do think this is where I think on both sides of this argument there are people who say, well, it's very, very straightforward. I think you've got people who say if somebody defines themselves as a woman, that's up to them, and I don't think it's as straightforward as that. I also don't think it's as straightforward as saying, well, a man is a man, a woman is a woman.
Andy, just to end, when you one day have a child, right, will you be happy for her, as a little girl, to do this, to be playing with these men?
Playing sports with them?
Yes.
I don't think that's a massive problem.
Wow. I think
that's, that's crazy, Andy. Come on. I do think we young girls need to be protected.
Have you got what it takes to be a reasoned presenter? Well, send us a short clip of yourself to join@reasoned.uk and we might be seeing you on this very channel very soon indeed.